Now, it is time for us to do a very important tier list, one that I've been thinking about doing for a long time, just kind of held back because it's such an important, meaty topic. It's one that you really have to treat with the respect and care that it deserves to do it properly, and that is the scene band tier list. And what do I mean when I say a scene band? Well, what I mean is any band where kids like this would have listened to them from, I don't know, roughly what, 2005 to 2010 or so. If their fans looked like this, it's a scene band. And there were a lot of these bands. Of course, at the time, everyone hated all these bands, but I think in hindsight, we can agree that a lot of them were pretty good. They're just hated because of their fans, but it is time for us to give them the justice that they always deserved. Time for us to rank them, to be the final judge of which ones held up and which ones actually kind of sucked. So where should we start? How about Woe Is Me? Classic scene band. Of course, many different eras of Woe Is Me, but this is the one that most people would say is the definitive era of Woe Is Me. Remember how quickly this band blew up? There is not a single chorus on this whole album. It's nothing but just a string of riffs. Not a single chorus on this whole fucking album. The songs make absolutely no sense. However, when it comes to scene bands, you know, I would say that they're one of the more important scene bands of that era. The question is, where do they rank? And by the way, we're going to rank them on two dimensions, as we always do. Criteria number one is how popular was this band? How successful were they? Criteria number two is how much do I like them? Because it's my channel, goddammit, my opinion matters. I can put them wherever I want. So I would say, Woe Is Me, you know, I feel like this is going to be an unpopular one, but not actually that great of a band. You know, they got a lot of hype, and a lot of you people who were in middle school back then probably think this band is great. I don't think they were. Certainly not the worst band by any means. We got to talk about the drip too. Oh, god damn it. That's a good point. We got to rank these bands according to their drip as well. So I was going to say C tier for just their music because the songs make no sense. It's kind of riff salad. The band is actually not that great, but if we factor in their drip, well, then it's a different story. Look at this, like just prime 2010 scene drip. We've got the deep V's. We've got the weird, like swoopy scene mullets. We've got the slouchy beanie. Nobody in this band weighs over like 110 pounds. Every single person in this photo has a deep V, including the deep V Henley. Very, very scene. This guy's even kind of got the 18 Visions, like skunk hair scene mullet kind of thing. Very advanced stuff. Just everyone here looks like they just got off their shift at Hot Topic. If we factor the aesthetic in, I think we've got to move them up one slot just for that, right? I mean, that is some high quality scene gear, as Hollywood Undead would say. I think B, that feels pretty fair. Who's next? Sleeping with Sirens. That's a good one. Very important one. The American flag shirt. Not very scene. Definitely a scene band. But there's nothing scene about wearing an American flag shirt. Come on, Kellen. What are you thinking? You got the water on the drums. That's right. It wouldn't be a scene video without that. And the orange amp and the truth drums. I mean, there we go. We're checking all the boxes here. It's not a scene video without rain on the drums, an orange amp, and truth drums. So where would we rank Sleeping with Sirens? Well, they were quite popular. I think that they eventually hit like the Billboard Top 10 like 2014 or something like that. Yeah, number 3. That's right. In 2013, they hit number 3 on Billboard. How the fuck did they do that? Isn't that crazy? Can you believe there's a time when Sleeping with Sirens hit number 3 on Billboard? What a time to be alive. 2013 was wild. Clearly, Sleeping with Sirens, very successful. I mean, number 3 on Billboard. You can't fuck with that. That's incredible. But how much do I like them? Well, they're one of those bands that I tried to like them many times. They certainly don't suck. But that version of post-hardcore just doesn't quite do it for me. You know what I mean? It's a little too like noodly, a little too kind of wheedly, but I think they're a good band. Certainly very successful, so I'm going to put them on the A tier. The American flag drip, though. See, now, if they had the same aesthetic as Woe Is Me. If everyone in the band wore matching deep V-necks and they had the swoopy mullets, then they would clearly be an S-tier band. So I'm sorry, Kellen, just based purely on your American flag shirt, which is decidedly not seen, based purely on that, you're knocked down to the A tier. I'm sorry. Mistakes were made. Attack Attack. Well, got it. You guys know how much I love Attack Attack. And of course, I mean, you guys all know this song, right? Does anyone not know Stick Stickly? Scene classic. Rocking out on the keyboard. The abandoned house. The girl in the white dress wandering around. Would it be a scene video if there wasn't a girl in a chair in some creepy old house? Epic piano solo. Look at Johnny's hair. Look at that. Crispy. Someone just went crazy with the hair gel that day. Not Johnny's best moment. They got some great photos too. This old version of the band. Look at this. I mean, there's two deep V's. We got Austin Carlisle here for the short time he was in the band in his purple American Apparel V-neck. Johnny over here in his yellow American Apparel deep V-neck. The streaky hair here, very important. Austin's bowl cut. I mean, strong hair in the photo. We got a slouchy beanie. Johnny's still got his wristband on from probably going to see some band at the basement the night before. Very strong aesthetics. Yeah, the Scene Power Rangers. That's right. I met Johnny's dad once when they were on tour because my friend went to church with his dad. And I told him that I liked Attack Attack, and he was like, oh, well, that's nice. And he was telling me he didn't like Austin very much. And he was looking at Johnny's Twitter, and this is when StarCraft 2 just came out. And he's like, what does this mean? And Johnny tweeted, StarCraft 2, bitches, with no comma. He's like, what is he talking about? Like, do they have girls on their bus? And I was like, no, it's a game. I think it's supposed to be StarCraft 2, comma, bitches, not StarCraft 2 bitches. It's just a game. And he was like, oh, okay, that's good. I think he was worried that Johnny was getting into mischief on the bus, but I assured him that was not the case. Now, with all of that being said, where do we put Attack Attack? Well, you guys know where I'm going to put Attack Attack, right? You guys know. I'm an Attack Attack stan. I have been since the beginning. I'm a stan. They're an S-tier scene band. No question about it. How about Chiodos? I was very confused because I thought this band was going to sound like, I don't know, like Killswitch Engage or something like that. I don't know why I thought that, but I thought they were like metalcore. Not metalcore at all. I mean, listen to these vocals. Jesus. Ooh. Does anyone in this band know how to like tune anything? This is horrible. Clearly, the only reason anybody liked this band was because of Craig Owens, right? Because the band's entire fan base back then was like 8th grade girls, right? Now, we do have to give them at least some points for the aesthetics. Feel like they had a decent look at some point, but I'm not finding any proof of it. There's this, Craig like wearing a cardigan or short sleeve cardigan unbuttoned for some reason. It's got a large head. I feel like their aesthetics in my head were a lot stronger than they actually are. If this is the best we can do in terms of aesthetics, you know, I'm disappointed. I don't think we can give them points for their aesthetics. We're forced to rank them purely on the merits of their music, which is, let's just say not good. Even the logo's bad. You can't fucking read it. I would say they're an F-tier band. Yeah, I'm going to say they're an F-tier band. Chiodos sucked. Blessthefall, that's a pretty good one. Blessthefall, another one of these bands. Well, there's two eras of Blessthefall. First of all, there's the Bo Boken era of Blessthefall, and then there's the Craig Mabbitt era of Blessthefall. And I think Craig is actually a really good vocalist, but they were horrible when he was in the band. Horrible. I'm sure Craig would agree. Again, it's a scene video, so we know we've got to have a girl in a white dress wandering around some creepy, fucked up house looking confused. So they do get some points for that. Horrible, though. This is awful. Holding the mic like this is really, like at the bottom, like all tall and skinny like this, There's just something that works when you have that cool, like, yeah, I mean, his emo hair is down, like, practically halfway down his nose, right? So I can't see myself, but pretend this is my emo hair. Pretend I've got the mic. Pretend I'm wearing, like, a deep V Henley. Do I look as cool as him? I hope I do. I'm going to pretend that I do. But that's the Craig era. And then we've got the Bo era, which is substantially better. Much more metal. That mic holding method is infamously called the stinky mic. Okay, I like that. Yeah, I think the Bo stuff is quite a bit better. And also Blessthefall, another one of these bands that somehow hit the Billboard charts at a shockingly high level. Yeah, number 15 in 2013. They went to number 15 on Billboard. How the fuck did Blessthefall hit number 15 on Billboard? I mean, obviously they've done well, but I don't know, number 15. That's no joke. So we got to give them some credit for that. But on a purely musical level, I would say they've always been, you know, good, but not great. It's just kind of like, yeah, you know, Blessthefall, I would put them on the C tier. I'd rather listen to Woe Is Me than Blessthefall. And unless Blessthefall can show me a photo of them wearing all matching deep V-necks with Karen hair, then I'm sorry, Woe Is Me wins on aesthetics too. I would put them in the C tier. That's where I'm putting them. We got to include Millionaires. We have to talk about Millionaires when it comes to scene bands, right? You guys know that I am a Millionaires stan. Yeah. You guys remember when this came out? All those like snarky hipster blogs like, you know, Vice and Brooklyn Vegan and Something Awful, like all the snarky hipster blogs were tripping all over themselves to shit on this. The joke's on them because these girls made this song when they were like 16 years old on the desktop PC that they shared in their mom's house. What a chorus. It's great. Great song. And I'll tell you what, I know Melissa a little bit. I did a podcast with her. I have known a lot of people over the years that know these girls. I have never heard a single bad thing about any of them in 15 years that we have had mutual friends. Nobody has a single bad thing to say about Melissa or her sister. Everybody loves them. They're nice people. Shout out to them for pioneering so many of the things that now we go on to take for granted. I mean, like, you know, Kesha, I don't know. I'm not saying that Kesha copied them, but Kesha probably copied them. Or Dr. Luke, whoever wrote her shit. Very nice girls. And they were like 16 or 17 when they did this. They were just like girls making music for fun in their bedroom because they thought it was silly. And then they put it out on MySpace and it got millions of views. Melissa and her sister ended up being, you know, scene queens, really establishing the template for a lot of what we think of as like influencers now. So I'm going to say, I think Millionaires, the amount of hate that they got back then was completely unjustified, especially since they were just kids, like having fun. Very nice people. And I think actually this song is catchy. It's a guilty pleasure, right? But like, it's a catchy song. I would rather listen to this now than almost anything else from that era. So, and in terms of popularity, you guys remember these like famous photos of her from back then. She was like every fucking little 7th grade girl's aesthetic inspiration. She like defined this look for millions and millions of people. So I will say, you know, their music is actually good. That's a catchy song. And in terms of aesthetics, absolutely fucking foundational. You know, Melissa and her sister had a serious amount of influence on like scene culture, and scene culture was itself pretty influential. So I'm going to put them in the S tier. That's what I think. I think that they are fantastic. Who's next? Boys Like Girls. That's a good one. This song is great. Great song. Is that Ashley Tisdale? I think it is. This chorus is so good. I used to be like you might be wondering, wow, what a great chorus. The reason why is because look who the songwriters are. Two of them are Sam Hollander and Dave Katz, better known as Sam and Sluggo. And look at who else they wrote for. Train, Boys Like Girls, Good Charlotte, Mandy Moore, Neon Trees, Cobra Starship, 303, All Time Low, Metro Station, We the Kings, Sugar Ray, Blues Traveler, Tom Jones, blah, 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 blah. Incredible fantastic S-tier songwriters. And so what I think is interesting about this era of scene bands is that this is when a lot of these bands didn't write their own music, because essentially, you know, they were like good-looking, charismatic young guys who were good at being in a band, but weren't necessarily great at writing songs. And so that's when people like Sam and Sluggo started getting involved and basically filling in where these guys weren't so strong, which is in the songwriting department. So great song, but I don't know if we can necessarily give the credit for that to the band as much as we can give it to their producers. That's a really good song, but because they didn't write it, I'm not going to give them too much credit for it, and their aesthetics are pretty weak, so we'll put them on the D tier. Why not? Enter Shikari. Okay, you guys are not going to like this one. Enter Shikari, a band a lot of people ask me about. Not a good band. This is horrible. I don't know how anybody could possibly think that this is good. Cool video. This is so bad. It sounds like a live recording where the monitors don't work. I mean, come on. How could anybody possibly think this is great? If you have fond memories of this because you heard it when you were 14, fair enough, but you can't possibly objectively say that this is good. Right? Everything's like out of tune and out of time. It is horrible. They seem like cool guys. They do. And I know that they've had some success as sort of an independent band, and, you know, good for them. But, I mean, the aesthetics are horrible. Look at this. These guys look like British taxi drivers or something. You know, like cranky British guys that would work at a newspaper stand. No aesthetics whatsoever. The music is bad. I'm sorry. I know it's just one of these bands that their fans think they're the best thing in the world. They seem like cool guys. I support the band, but they're horrible. They're like maybe even worse than Chiodos. Just really absolutely terrible. But how about Breathe Carolina? Breathe Carolina is an interesting one because they're another one of these bands that I was expecting to be metalcore for some reason. I don't know why I thought that. And then they sounded like this. Definitely not what I was expecting. Party, you know, they sound like 303. It's like party music. Neon dance pop, exactly. The aesthetics are strong. I will say, they have one song that I really like. I have no idea what this song is about. This song is really cool. This is like the only Breathe Carolina song that I really like from 2009. I love this song. I heard it in a shoe store once. I love this song. I feel like that version of scene bands was for like the really troubled like party kids, you know what I mean? Oh, and they became like popular EDM DJs. That's right. The kids that were into that stuff were the ones that ended up getting like real into drugs and stuff like that. You know what I mean? That was like a really, really dark version of scene culture. They were the kind of people that would end up on Is Anyone Up, right? A lot of girls that were into Breathe Carolina would end up on that site because their piece of shit asshole boyfriend leaked their nudes. That's what I think of with Breathe Carolina, which is like, yeah, it's a dark scene. Never Shout Never. Oh, that's a good one. Never Shout Never. He got so much hate at the time. Chris Drew, aka Never Shout Never, he broke out because he looked like this. Super cute, you know, MySpace scene heartthrob with a cool chest tattoo and awesome hair, who also happened to be like kind of funny and charming and played these like cutesy pop songs on his ukulele. But he's actually an insanely talented musician, like super ridiculously talented. He did this probably when he was like 16 or 17, like an actual kid. I said hi as he replied. He's so good. He said, listen to these words that I have lived by my whole life. Just look on the bright. I mean, it's a great song. It's a great fucking song. And he wrote it when he was a kid. This kid's incredibly fucking talented. I interviewed him in like 2010, maybe. I could tell that he hated like his fans. He hated being famous with these like 6th grade girls. That was like his fan base. Anyway, the question is, where does he belong? He was quite successful. He was like mainstream famous. And if he did fall off, it was on purpose. Like, he's one of these people, he doesn't really want to be famous, if that makes sense. I think he was sort of famous by accident, but he didn't really seek it out. It just sort of happened, and I think he actually disliked it. I would put him on the A tier. Very talented guy, cool guy. He also had a cool metalcore band called Eat Me While I'm Hot, which you should check out if you haven't. I'd put him on the A tier. Talented guy. Yeah, how about All Time Low? Now, All Time Low is an interesting band. They've always kind of rubbed me the wrong way, if I'm being honest. Their music is pretty good. Like, this song's a jam. I won't lie. This song's a jam. But, like, I don't know. It's such a douchey video. It's like, basically, the point of the video is they don't like their fans, I guess. I understand why it's probably annoying to have a bunch of, like, you know, high school girls as your fans, but I don't know. At the same time, they sort of leaned into that. So it's like, what did you expect? It's just kind of a douchey vibe, you know? But it is a great song. And they've become very successful. Some strong hair. The vest. I feel like the vest with the striped V-neck underneath is a slept-on part of scene fashion. And those, like, super heavy Greek eyebrows as well. That's right. He wears the deep V so you can see the key to his heart. This is a fucking great song, though. God damn it. 10 out of 10 song. I mean, look at that. Punching her, like, hell yeah, hitting women. Super funny and cool. I went to the tour that they did with Issues in, like, 2014. And this was at a venue that was 1,200 people or something. Like, decent-sized venue, but nothing, like, super crazy. They had, like, printouts backstage with, like, pictures of Alex and Jack, which were the two guys from the band, that said, they will not be wearing lanyards. Know their faces. Typically, if you want to go backstage at a show, you need to have like your tour pass. You know, the security guard, you show them your pass and you go backstage. These guys thought they were such rock stars that they didn't have to wear lanyards. You know, that they just, you should know my face. Just like, what the fuck is your problem? Like, who do you think you are? Like fucking Prince? I do think that they're a very good band on a musical basis. They've got some very good songs, and they've been very successful too. They actually probably are bigger now than they were 10 years ago, which is very rare for a band like this. So I got to give them respect for that. But there's just something about this band that has always kind of rubbed me the wrong way on sort of like a personality level. Maybe I'm wrong. You know, I don't know these guys. I could be wrong. But for that reason, I'm going to put them on the C tier just because rubs me the wrong way. I'm not into it. I don't like the douchey rock star kind of vibe. That's what I think. The Summerset. There we go. The Summerset. That's a good one. The Summerset is an interesting band. We're getting obscure here. This band used to be really good. I remember they came out in 2009 or something. I heard this song. Really catchy song. This song was great. This was like the G-rated Disney wing of Scene, you know? Like the Christian Kids, maybe. They weren't a Christian band, but the Mayday Parade type of kids. This is for the G-rated kids whose parents were still married and didn't do drugs, somehow or another just ended up listening to this kind of music, but only kind of, sort of. You know, they weren't like in the scene. They just happened to like a couple of these bands somehow or another, like Mayday Parade. Yeah, Nickelodeon Corps. Exactly. Now, I will say, it's interesting. This band, I thought that they were about to get huge. It felt like they were like on the verge of being like the next big scene band, and then it just didn't happen. I don't know why. They just like kind of fizzled and broke up a couple years later. But I did think they were good. So where would they rate? You know, they're like a definitive C tier band to me. You know, they have a couple good songs, just kind of never really stood out in any way. Just kind of like really middle of the pack. Forever the Sickest Kids. Oh God, yes. Holy shit. How did I almost forget this? So another band that would fit into this category of like, you know, PG-13 rated music for kids who grew up watching the Disney Channel and parents are still together would definitely be Forever the Sickest Kids, with some incredibly strong aesthetics too. This album was a goddamn masterpiece. If you haven't listened to this album, you're missing out. It's incredible. And I mean, already some great hair. They were great live. This doesn't have a music video, but this song, holy shit, listen to this arrangement. This is incredible. This shit is so progressive and weird and technical. They have like 3 singers, synths, acoustic drums, electric drums, insanely complex stuff. Crazy harmonies, crazy arrangements. Love this band. By the way, what a name. Like, that is just one of the most seen names of all time, right? Forever the Sickest Kids. And just the peak, like, neon scene aesthetics. It does not get any more, like, neon scene than this. A YOLO shirt, all the flat iron hair. Kyle's got the skunk hair. So much flat iron hair, except for this poor guy. What's his name? Mark, who couldn't flat iron his hair. Jonathan's got the red and black striped fingerless gloves with that purple American Apparel hoodie that everybody had. Incredible. Very underrated band, by the way. If you're into like any of that stuff that's on the poppier side of things, definitely do not sleep on this band. I'm going to say they kind of fizzled. They sort of flopped. They were supposed to be more popular than they were, but still, they did reasonably well. But on purely musical basis and aesthetic basis, they go in the S tier for me. Few people talking about Icy Stars. We'll talk about them. The pioneers of this sound. This was their first big song. This band was like real hype in 2009. And they were like 15, 16 when they did this. Super young. Can you believe that this was 13 years ago almost? Isn't that horrifying? Now, personally, I liked their second album, The End of the World Party, that nobody else liked. Everyone else thought that this was bad and weird. I personally like this album a lot. This is my favorite album they did. I thought it was great. I haven't looked at any photos of this band in a long time, but I feel like they probably had some pretty good aesthetics. My wife was into some of this stuff when she was in high school, and I was watching one of their videos a couple years ago, and she was like, wait, the guy from Icy Stars looked like that? Like, how did I not know this? I mean, just a sickeningly good-looking guy. Jesus Christ, he looks like a CGI character. I would give anything to look like this guy for just one day. Like, Jesus Christ. No wonder so many high school girls liked him. Like, holy shit, what an incredible-looking guy. I mean, even in his mugshot, he has cool hair. Look at that. Now, where would I rank this band? Well, I thought the early stuff was pretty cool. They started to get a little bit less interesting to me on their later albums, which I know that they were popular, and, you know, I understand a lot of people like those albums, but for me personally, I really prefer their earlier stuff. They did invent that electronic core sound. Attack Attack got the idea to do that synthy stuff from seeing Icy Stars in like 2007 or something like that, before they were signed. But I think Attack Attack did it better. Icy Stars, to me, just never really fulfilled their potential. And overall, I would say their catalog is kind of, you know, so-so. So I would put them on the B tier. What's next? Dot Dot Curve. That's a good one. Wow. Okay, that's a good one. Shout out to Evansville, Indiana's crunkcore pioneers, Dot Dot Curve. My freakish lip rings. Incredible aesthetics. I mean, imagine being in Indiana and seeing kids that look like that. Real Indiana hours. Look at this aesthetic right here. Whose little brother is this? I feel like this is where Brian Stars got his swag from. The dork in the blue shirt with an 87 on it. And then we've got this man here in what looks like some long plaid shorts and like a bright blue Breathe Carolina shirt or something. Really incredible stuff. What's extra incredible is that Dot Dot Curve is actually still around. He still makes music. He's on Bandcamp. Still does it. God, this is good. You remember videos like this from 2008 that like some girl made with Windows Movie Maker? Look at that. I Am Dinosaur RAR X production. They just don't make music like this anymore, do they? With the Metallica sample? Very advanced, actually. Very advanced. Like, it's terrible, but it's actually really clever and creative at the same time, you know? Definitely the setup to hyperpop. In all seriousness, it's actually cool that this is what some 16-year-old kid in Evansville, Indiana was doing in his bedroom in 2008. Like, it's super creative. Is it good? Well, I don't know. Maybe it's not good, but it's actually cool. I legitimately respect it. And in terms of aesthetics, in terms of drip, I mean, look at this. There has never been a more seen photo than this GIF, right? With his, whatever this like Invader Zim shirt or whatever that is, the bandana and the shutter shades, the ginger flat ironed hair. Nobody has been more seen than this man. Incredible. So where would I put them? It's hard to say. It's true outsider art. Like, nobody thought this was cool. Nobody even cared about it. It's tough because it's bad, but at the same time, it's great. So it's really hard to know where to put it. I'll just I'll go with F tier, but F tier in a good way. How about that? It's F tier in a good way. I don't know any other way to describe it. All right, my friends, that does it for this edition of the Scene Band tier list. If you guys like this, we can do it again for volume 2 of the Scene Band tier list. But for now, there we have it. Volume 1 of the Scene Band tier list is in the books.